How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be talking about UFC Vegas 81, Yusuff vs. Barboza, my thoughts on the card as a whole, and what's next for winners and losers. Let's get right into it with the most impressive prelim winners. We start with the very first winner of the card, Emily Ducote. Let's look at her stats. 119 of 213 total / significant strikes, 1 of 1 on takedowns. Things I saw, crisp boxing from Emily. She was dinging Ashley Yoder's head the entire goddamn fight. She countered Ashley whenever she rushed in with her 1s and 2s. Her cardio was decent. Good takedown defense. I think she defended 3 of them. And she made up for the height disadvantage that she had. Ashley Yoder is a big women's strawweight. I'm going to pair Emily Ducote with Cynthia Calvillo, who's coming off the Lupe Godinez loss at UFC 287, I believe. I think this fight makes sense. Cynthia used to be a ranked fighter. Emily Ducote, while she's 2-2 in the UFC now, I think she's a high prospect, and I think she just got unlucky in those 2 fights. We skip a fight and move to Melissa Dixon, who beat Irina Alekseeva by unanimous decision. Let's look at her stats. 87 of 148 total strikes, 52 of which were significant, 0 of 1 on takedowns. Things I saw. Melissa's striking was way better than I thought it was going to be. I saw from one of her fights, her striking looked absolutely horrific in the first round, and she was getting hit a shit ton. But in this fight, Melissa showed that her 1s and 2s were landing all day. Irina's Street Fighter style just wasn't working in this fight. Her ground control and transitions were beautiful, and that's one of the things Melissa is known for. Her ground game is fucking amazing, especially her ground and pound, which she was just beating the shit out of Irina the entire fight. Melissa still leaves some openings on the feet. I mean, she got dropped hard as fuck in the first round. Also, the eye. I'm going to pair Melissa with Jacqueline Cavalcanti, who won at UFC Paris earlier this year. Jacqueline is 6-1, while Melissa is 6-0 now. I think this fight would be a goddamn barn burner, not going to lie. It'd just be fun. We go to the next fight where Terence McKeen knocked out Brandon Marat in the very first round, 20 seconds in. Let's look at his stats. 1 knockdown, 14 of 21 total / significant strikes. Things I saw, geez fucking Louise. Terence is a monster in the first minute, and he showed it again. Knee to chin, ground and pound is scary. Yet another quick finish. I think Terence has 14 first-round finishes of his 15 wins. It's fucking insane. No damage taken. He could fight another time this year, which is bizarre to think about. Also, Terence liked one of my posts, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to pair Terence up with Chris Duncan, which was the original matchup on this card. Chris is not injured. It was a visa issue on his part. He couldn't get into Vegas, and I think that Terence wants to fight Chris at MSG. Chris Duncan and Terence is a fucking fun fight. Chris Duncan hits hard as shit, and he's got a chin, but Terence's first round is fucking bizarre. If Chris can get Terence to the ground, it'd be a very interesting fight. We go to the featured prelim where Darren Elkins submitted TJ Brown in the third round, 2 minutes in. Let's look at his stats. 95 of 146 total strikes, 11 of which were significant. 5 takedowns out of 8 attempts, 2 sub-attempts. Things I saw, Darren Elkins' right hand was working pretty good on the feet in the first round. He didn't really throw it after that. Great takedown entries and control. His takedown entries, he would feint the right hand, level change, take TJ down, hold him down for about a minute and a half. TJ might be able to get up, but then Darren would get to his back, like I have highlighted, back take and reversals. TJ would be on top, he would be on Darren's back, and then Darren would just reverse the position. Old man's still got it, baby! I might murder Darren with my matchup. I'm going to pair him up with David Onama. Passing to the torch, bud. We go to the start of the main card where Christian Rodriguez beat Cameron Simon by unanimous decision. Stats, 92 of 173 total strikes, 83 of which were significant, 3 takedowns on 6 attempts, 2 sub-attempts, things I saw. Good combos in a phone booth. Christian and Cameron fought in the phone booth quite a bit in this fight, and Christian was winning most of the exchanges. Counters on Cameron Simon. Christian was throwing right-hand counters whenever Cameron would rush in because Cameron wasn't feigning and just kind of pick him apart. Clinch work yet again, knees and elbows. I mean, Christian landed a couple of body knees that it was like, oh my fucking god. Good control and sub-attempts. Christian had 2 anacondas that I was so shocked that Cameron even got out of. It was insane. Christian's got to make the weight, though. You can't, this is the second time he's missed weight. He's taken the O of 2 people, Raul Rosas and Cameron Simon, when he missed weight in both fights. You can't be doing that, but you got to make the weight. And I'm going to pair him up with a featherweight because I think Christian should be forced to move up, and I'm going to pair him up with Daniel Pineda, who is one of the most underrated, exciting guys in the UFC. I think Daniel Pineda and Christian Rodriguez would be a hell of a fight. You can't keep a guy who's missing weight all the time. It's just by multiple pounds, too. Like, that's just not fair. We go to the loser, Cameron Simon, who lost by unanimous decision. Let's look at his stats. 87 of 192 total strikes, 73 of which were significant. 0 takedowns on 5 attempts, 2 sub-attempts, things I saw. Cameron Simon's kicks were impressive as always. His wild right hands were landing significantly. Cameron threw a lot of spinning attacks, a lot of spinning elbows, spinning back fist, spinning back kick to the body. It was kind of weird. Sub-defense and get-ups are insane. Cameron got out of 2 aforementioned anaconda chokes that were pretty tightly sealed. Cameron Simon has a fucking chin on him. He looks like a fucking toddler, but he can take a punch. Cameron needs to feint and stop trying to equal damage. What I mean by that was, whenever Christian would land something significant, Cameron would try and land something just as big back. Like in UFC 4, whenever someone rocks you, you want to get the rock back. You can't be doing that in real life, and that's what Cameron was doing the entire fight. It sucks to say, I'm going to pair Cameron up with Farid Basharat. Even though he lost, we move to the winner of the next fight, Michel Pereira. Let's look at his stats. 1 knockdown, 6 of 18 total / significant strikes. Things I saw, footwork and speed is still there at middleweight. That was one of the key things about Michel Pereira at welterweight, was that his footwork and speed is fucking insane. And it's still there at middleweight, which is scary for a lot of people. He switches stances a lot. Michel switched, I think, 5 times. He just kept going back and forth whenever he was backing up. Power is, Jesus Christ, middleweight is definitely the move for Michel Pereira. I'm going to pair Michel Pereira with Albert Duraev, who's been in the UFC for, I think, 2 years now. He was winning a couple fights, then he lost a fight to Joaquin Buckley, then he bounced back against Chidi Njokuani, and then he just lost to Jin Park. Albert Duraev was getting close to getting ranked, and they're both kind of hot prospects. Get Michel and Albert Duraev in a cage, and I guarantee you it's fight of the night. We move to the loser, Andre Petroski, who got knocked out in 1 minute and 6 seconds. Stats, 0 of 1 total strikes. Jesus Christ. Things I saw, his striking just isn't great still. He still needs to work on it a lot. Can't take shots from heavy hitters. I mean, that's not even really a con. It's just like, he got clipped in like the right spot. Michel hit him like right on his cheekbone and just fucking dropped Andre. He needs a takedown to do well. Andre needed to shoot a little bit earlier. It is what it is, man. You can't really say much. I'm going to pair him up with Bruno Ferreira, who just lost to fucking that 6'5", dude. What's his name? I fucking forgot. Fucking Zoltan Ruziboyev, that fucking dude who was supposed to fight Kyle Bohalo at 294. That dude's a monster, but Bruno Ferreira hits hard. Andre Petroski, he was 5-0 in the UFC. This isn't really, he took this on short notice, man. There's not really a lot you can do. This fight would be fun, though. We go to the next winner, Jonathan Martinez. I told you, this guy's a bad dude, man. Stats, 2 knockdowns, 36 of 60 total / significant strikes. Things I saw, great pressure on Adrian Yanez. Jonathan was applying pressure early in the fight, and at the end, his kicks, his leg kicks. I highlighted it in the picks and breakdown, but goddamn, I forget how brutal they sound. Good defense for the most part. Adrian couldn't really land anything too crazy significant other than a couple of hooks and like body shots. Jonathan is patient as fuck. That is one of like the key things about Jonathan. He is a very patient dude. He doesn't lose composure. He's just kind of in the moment. Hand fighting, Jonathan was batting away the jab of Adrian Yanez the entire fight. His game plan worked beautifully. I'm going to pair Jonathan Martinez up with Pedro Munoz, who lost at 292 earlier this year to Chito Vera. Number 10 versus number 13. This is going to be a good fight. Watch out. You could probably put this as the co-main of a Apex card. We move to the loser, Adrian Yanez, who got TKO'd via leg kicks. Let's look at his stats. 20 of 73 total / significant strikes. Things I saw. His boxing is still pretty clean. He's very quick. Body shots were landing pretty consistently. Adrian needs to learn how to check leg kicks. Holy shit. He might also need to improve his wrestling, because Adrian shot for a takedown in the second round trying to initiate a clinch. He needs to be able to wrestle in case this happens again, because holy shit, that was brutal to watch. I wouldn't say Adrian Yanez is a fraud. I would think he just got paired 2 very hard opponents in Rob Flaw and Jonathan Martinez. They're very, these are definitely learning experiences for him, and he needs to improve his game plan and just overall bag. I'm going to pair Adrian Yanez up with Chris Gutierrez, which is why I didn't feature him in impressive wins. I just didn't feel like putting Chris Gutierrez on 2 slides. Chris Gutierrez beat Alatang Lee on this card in dominant fashion. I mean, who thought that fucking Chris was going to lose that fight? This fight would be very fun. Chris would definitely throw leg kicks too. So Adrian's going to need to learn how to check goddamn leg kicks if he's going to fight Chris Gutierrez. We go to the winner of the co-main event, Viviane Vivani. Let's look at her stats. 64 of 100 total strikes, 24 of which were significant. 2 takedowns on 6 attempts, 1 sub-attempt, things I saw. Viviane had great clinch work with good pressure. Good switch to clinch and takedowns midway through the fight. After the first round, you could tell Viviane wasn't going to win the stand-up exchanges. Jennifer Maia was just a step ahead on the feet. Control in the second, Viviane had about fucking 3 minutes and 30 seconds of control in the second round. Very close fight, though. The third round was very close. Viviane won, so I'm going to pair up with Lauren Murphy, who hasn't fought since the beatdown that Jessica Andrade put on her. Viviane's going to move up to 9. Lauren is 7. She's going to have to fight down. This fight just kind of makes sense rankings-wise. We go to the loser of the co-main event, Jennifer Maia. Let's look at her stats. 60 of 126 total strikes, 41 of which were significant. 2 takedowns on 4 attempts, things I saw. Jab plus feints, better work in space. Jennifer Maia was just doing better in the striking exchanges. She was landing better shots, crispier shots. Got controlled and couldn't really settle in clinch or ground. After the second round where Viviane realized that Jennifer couldn't really compete on the ground, she kind of went back to that well a shit ton. Jennifer really couldn't get going in the clinch or the ground. She got controlled heavy in the clinch especially. It is what it is, mostly just due to her slowing down. I'm going to pair Jennifer Maia with Natalia Silva, who was one of the highest prospects at women's flyweight. She's very fun to watch. 2 finishes in her 3 fights. She just put a beat down at Andrea Lee. This fight would be hella fun, not gonna lie. We go to the winner of the main event. Edson Barboza got it done. I can't fucking believe it. I'm actually kind of happy that he won. It's so fun. Stats, 1 knockdown with that spinning wheel kick in round number 3. 178 of 347 total strikes, 164 of which were significant. 3 takedowns on 4 attempts, things I saw. Cardio and hard from Edson as always. I mean, holy shit, he pushed the pace in this one. Kicks, leg, body, and spinning wheel kicks, of course. His combinations with those kicks and punches, he threw a bunch of jab straights, left hooks to the body. It was fucking beautiful, not gonna lie. Edson, of course, started a little slow, almost got finished in the first. His face is made of paper. He got cut and beat up in the face really bad. Is this a career resurgence for Edson Barboza? That's 2 wins in a row. Once against Billy Quarantillo at Kansas City, and now against Sadik Yusuff across 5 rounds. I think Edson Barboza is starting to pick it up again, and I'm excited. I'm gonna pair Edson up with Movsar Evelev. Boo me all you want. Movsar did not have a fucking significant performance against Diego Lopez to fight up. He almost lost against an unranked fucking guy. I think Edson should get this fight. He might lose. But Movsar is kind of chinny, so you never know. We go to the loser of the main event, Sadik Yusuff. He had it almost in the bag in the first round. Stats, 1 knockdown, 206 of 397 total strikes, 178 of which were significant. 1 takedown on 2 attempts, things I saw. Explosive first round. Sadik, of course, almost got it finished in the first. Jabs and straights were landing all night. Leg kicks, especially to the back leg of Edson, which was very innovational. I think I've seen Beneil Dariush do that before. You rarely see it happen. Didn't really slow down, but had a possible injury in his right shoulder. He's getting an MRI done soon. He seems to think he had torn it either in the first or the second, I believe is what Sadik is saying. If so, would put an asterisk on this, but still a very fun fight, and Sadik to be able to stay in there with a torn shoulder is kind of crazy. I'm going to pair Sadik up with Lerone Murphy, who is a high prospect, undefeated. He's 13-0-1. He's coming off the Joshua Culibao win. This fight would be very fun. Lerone Murphy has a very fun style, and he's very quick, which is kind of the opposite of Sadik Yusuff. Not saying Sadik isn't exciting. This fight was very exciting, but Sadik is kind of slower. Who would you guys want to see Sadik Yusuff fight? I'm UFC Thoughts, and these have been my UFC Vegas 81, Yusuff vs. Barboza, Afterthoughts, what's next for most winners and losers, and yeah. I'll see you guys next week for UFC 294, Makasha vs. Volkanovski 2. That card is fucking insane. This card was pretty damn good. I know I posted this video a bit late, a day late, so I'm going to give you guys another upload talking about the whole situation with 294 with the pullouts and injuries. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. Peace.